initial goal was just to get him stabilized, and after he was stabilized, he was transported to Albany Medical Center for treatment at the hospital's renowned trauma unit. And there is a news conference underway there right now, so let's go to Albany for that.
The center assembled a team of doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals to care for this patient on arrival. No differently than we care for the approximate 11,000 transfers that we will receive this year from other hospitals in our region and beyond. This patient was initially evaluated in the emergency department and then taken to a clinical location in the hospital that is appropriate for his level of care. So far, the specialists involved in his care include doctors in the emergency department, trauma, intensive care, radiology, and vascular surgery. At this time, his condition is listed as critical. I would like to commend the New York State Police, the New York State Department of Corrections, Albany Police, and Albany Medical Center Security for the extraordinary precautions that they have taken to assure the safety of our staff and our patients. Thank you.
Doctor, what sorts of things do you do differently within a hospital to prepare when you have a high-profile escaped prisoner coming to your facility?
Right. I think it's important to remember that the clinical care does not change. When you get into trouble is when you try to alter what you would do on a routine basis. So I said in my statement, the medical center receives approximately 11,000 transfers a year. Many of them are trauma patients. If you deviate from how you would care for those patients, you're setting yourself up for doing things in a way that you're not used to doing. The difference in this case is the coordination of the non-clinical pieces. So security, of course, being paramount to be sure that we have the situation controlled and that we're able to provide the care in a way that's safe not only for our staff but for everyone around us.
What do you see as the course of treatment going forward here?
So I cannot comment on his course of treatment other than to say that right now he's currently under the evaluation of specialists, as I mentioned. We've assembled, as we would in any patient like this, a level of physician and nurse and other medical professional specialists to care for him. He's in the middle of his workup at this time.
Did authorities say anything specifically about why they were going to Albany Med as opposed to another trauma center somewhere else in the state?
So we are, in fact, the busiest trauma center in New York State. The record would also reflect that we actually have one of the lowest morbidity and mortality results in the state, which is excellent. You want to have patients who survive and have good outcomes. That's what Albany Medical Center can provide. Alice Hyde Medical Center routinely transfers patients to us. So this patient would have come to us under any other circumstances.
Is he able to speak?
At this time, I can't speak to what he's saying to the doctors or not.
Dr. McKenna, can you tell us what Mr. Sweat's psychological situation? Was he rambunctious? Was he an ornery patient? Was he calm? Did you have to sedate him? What's happening with him?
So I was not involved in the care of Mr. Sweat. The team that's caring for them is taking care of him right now. So I'm aware of what's going on, but I don't want to speak to what the status of the patient is other than to say that his condition currently is critical.
Generally speaking, can't you just tell us, was he very, was he agitated? Was he calm? Just generally speaking.
I think in general he would look like a patient who had the injuries that he has and he's being cared for in a way that we would care for that type of patient. I'd rather not go into any specifics about what he looks like at this time.
Can you elaborate on specifics? I say generalities.
Can you elaborate on the specifics of his injuries? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Could you elaborate on the specifics of his injuries at all?
So I would refer you to the statement given by the state police about his injuries. I would say that our evaluation of him on arrival is consistent with that, and we're currently treating him and evaluating him in a manner similar to what they had reported in their statement.
Is he going in for surgery? Is he going to undergo surgery?
At this point, it's premature to say whether or not he'll go for surgery. I will say he's being evaluated by trauma surgeons who would make that determination once all the testing is done.
Can you tell us how he made his way here to Albany? Was it via helicopter or plane or how?
So when we received the call at 4:45, one of the things Albany Medical Center does is we coordinate with the sending hospital to assure that the transportation is appropriate. In this particular case, Mr. Sweat came to us through a combination of ground transport and medical evaluation. He did come through different mechanisms. He went from an outside hospital to an airport, and then he came here via ground transport.
So he went to Albany Airport, and then he came here via, like, Mohawk ambulance?
That's correct, sir.
Could you talk a little bit about the secure facility that you have that is equipped for prisoners again?
So Albany Medical Center has a secured part of its hospital which is staffed by Department of Corrections, and it's an extremely secure unit. That unit is not able to provide a level of care for all patients. It's able to provide a certain level of care. But yes, it's a locked unit, and it is something that we provide care for patients in that setting on a daily basis.
Dr. McKenna, can you comment on how many inmates might be treated in the secure unit in a given year?
I'd have to get offline with you on those numbers, but I can tell you that on any given day we may have anywhere between 8 and 10 patients in that unit.
Very common thing then.
Yeah, we have a contract with the Department of Corrections, so we, in fact, receive those patients to our hospital and provide the care for those patients.
You said there's certain treatment that you can do there. Is that where he is? His treatment can be fulfilled there?
I would tell you that at this point in time, he's at a setting in the hospital that's appropriate for his level of care. I can't get into the specifics of where he is at this time.
Dr. McKenna, has anyone briefed you as to how the HIPAA laws relate to felons? And because when you're a felon, you lose certain rights. Are the HIPAA laws still in effect for a felon?
So I'm very familiar with the HIPAA laws in this patient, but it won't allow me to go beyond what I've said so far.
Right, but can you tell us what you're allowed?
So I would refer those questions to the Department of Corrections.
Are they in place, the HIPAA laws, are they not in place for a felon?
So I'm not authorized to speak about this patient any differently than I am for any other patient in front of this podium.
Generally speaking, is the HIPAA laws, generally speaking, are they enforced for a felon?
HIPAA is in play at this time. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any concerns about taking this individual into the care of the hospital at all?
No concern at all. I mean, and I say that because having been down in the emergency department before he arrived, having seen what the individuals I mentioned, the legal profession was able to bring to bear with the New York State Police, the Department of Corrections, the Albany Police, and our security, I can say with confidence that our staff and the other patients are very safe.
Are the staff in that unit specially certified or specially trained in a way that others may not be trained?
You're talking about
In the secure unit.
in the secure unit that we have here in the hospital, yes, they undergo very rigorous training. We have policies and procedures that not only our security personnel but our clinical providers undergo. You cannot even get onto our secure unit unless you've gone through certain additional training.
Given the injuries that you know Mr. Sweat to have, are you able to make a medical guess at this point how long he might be a patient here?
What I could tell you is that his condition is critical, and based on the preliminary evaluation of the patient, it's obvious that he would need to be here for at least a series of days, for sure.
Would you mind repeating, Dr. McKenna, the departments that are going to be caring for him? I know you mentioned radiology.
Sure. So currently, again, to repeat, and this list could grow. This would be consistent with any other type of multi-trauma patient that we might receive. You would often require the services of many different providers: emergency medicine, trauma doctors, critical care doctors, radiology doctors, and vascular surgeons are all involved in his care at this time.
In his time in the woods, can you speak at all about if it compromised his health conditions at all?
I don't have enough information to speak specifically to that. I'm sorry.
Okay. What was the feedback from your staff about working under this kind of pressure?
I can tell you, having been down there when he arrived, they acted in an extremely professional manner. They were calm. This to them was, quite frankly, part of what they do on a daily basis, and I didn't notice any difference from caring any other patient.
Okay, thank you very much.
One more question. Are there any bullet shells in him? Any slugs or anything in his body?
I can't speak to that right now.
Okay,
At what
that's
point will
fine.
you
No,
know
that's
if he
fine.
undergoes
Yeah, we're fine. Everything's okay.